Hello and welcome to the Data Panes channel. In this channel, I will post a series of data panes, and in this one, I want to kind of show how to deploy Trino in Kubernetes through Helm, and at the same time also spinning up a Metastore to be able to query Delta tables. And hopefully this should help some of you. I have the link to the Medium post, but in this video I want to walk it through more interactively. So let's jump straight into it. Well, so I just ran through the repo. It's very small. I'm gonna build the image, right? So here we have the image. Okay, so I'm gonna run that. I'm on an M1 machine, so that's why I've added this. You might just need this. You might be on an M2. I don't know how that works because I haven't had the luxury to run on an M2. If you run on Ubuntu, it probably will work. Obviously, you wouldn't necessarily need this. It would just be build, and you can see that in the make file. It's just build. It should be fine. If you have a Windows, well, then best of luck. I have no idea how to do it on Windows. That's probably more difficult than deploying Trino on Kubernetes. But yeah, anyway, no hate to anyone who maybe like Windows. But yeah, anyway, so here we go. So now I've prepared everything with make commands. So I'm just going to deploy the Metastore. And that looks pretty good. So, just a basic command. Didn't really need to do much. I might want to just quickly inspect. So I can do make. It might not be in the README actually, but it's pretty straightforward. So here we just say make, inspect local Metastore. It's using namespace. Namespace by default is Metastore. Okay, good. We run that. Okay, it's booting up. Looks good. That will help us. All right. So we do that, and this will spin up. It's initializing, so the MinIO server is up and running. I will show you all of this in a little bit as we verify everything's running. Then we will actually go to the Trino UI and we will have a look on some of the queries that have been running, and we can also have a quick look at the table. Okay, so this looks good. So the first time this tried, so this is a job. So this probably means that the MinIO server was not up and running yet. Okay, boom, it's done. Let's have a quick look at the logs, kubectl logs, the stateful set, Metastore, and then we tail it with F. Okay, so as you can see here, it's booting up the internal tables it needs. So that's good. So now it's going to start the server, which is also good. The Hive release version here is maybe not the most up to date, but completely fine for what we want to do. Okay, so here we can see that it's booting up. Should take a few seconds. So here we can see that it's connecting to the Postgres. Now it's actually connecting to MinIO. So now it's making sure that that connection exists. It does. And boom, here we go. It is up and running. Okay, so that's good. So now what we want to do is we want to run, we want to move on, and we want to deploy Trino. So I've already executed this command. So you need to do that. And then you also need to make sure that you use version 0.21 or greater. So if you tried to do this before and you didn't get it working and you left it and you came back, then you want to make sure that you're running on that. So you can see I'm running on this, because if you don't, the values YAML file won't work essentially. Okay, so I know that I have this, right? Okay, good. And on the Kubernetes side, we have Helm, Trino, and we have the values file. So for anyone who's worked with Helm before, you already know what it is. But for people who haven't used Helm, essentially Helm is an abstraction of vanilla Kubernetes, where you go in, you provide your configuration, and compared to like here, you can see this is completely vanilla. So here I have effectively hard-coded stuff, and in Helm this would be parameterized through my values file. So we could take this later on and wrap it as a Helm chart, and then it would be easier for other people to deploy. So that's what they've done. I've actually deployed Trino as well, like vanilla style without Helm, but it's really it's much better idea that people who are actually the real pros on Trino, that they maintain that rather than me, right? So in this case, it makes perfect sense to use the Helm chart. I will have less issues, and so will probably you as well. Anyway, so in here, the important thing that I'm setting up that we really care about is the additional catalogs. So you can find this in the Trino configuration for their Helm setup as well. The important thing here is that I create a catalog, which I call Lakehouse. Maybe the name is not great, but that's what I call it for now here. It is a connector name for Delta Lake. I set up the Metastore connection, and the important thing here is I'm actually going to deploy Trino in its own namespace, Trino. So when I set up these URIs, I'm referring to the service and the namespace of the Metastore. That way I can run something in another namespace connecting to another namespace, but keep them separate. That's very useful for monitoring purposes. Like you want to monitor Trino alone and not confuse it with a MinIO or a Hive Metastore, for example. Anyway, that's another discussion. And then I kind of also, just for fun, connect to the internal Postgres of that Metastore. So in reality, maybe this is kind of not realistic. Maybe you wouldn't do that, but you can. So I will, because it's not real life anyway. Anyway, so that's that. And now I'm going to essentially deploy this. So sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing. Yeah, here we go. So I'm gonna deploy this, make local deploy Trino. So boom, I hit it. And in my case, the namespace already exists. I have kind of made a little hack here, as you can see, bash hack, so it goes through anyway. And now this is going to be spinning up. So let's have a quick look at get pods and Trino. So that's pretty quick. Let's have a quick look at the logs of the coordinator, because this will indicate to us if it actually works. So here now it's booting up, setting some system things, loading configuration, etc. We will see it add the catalog and all of that as well. Hopefully that works. Get out to the UI and we have a look there. We actually can now follow the README. We can jump all the way down, and we can see if we can execute ourselves into this. So kubectl exec it pod name Trino -- Trino. So let's keep it simple. I think I did bin bash in the README, but same thing. So now we're going into the actual Trino shell. Okay, so now I'm just going to say, okay, show catalogs. And this is going to give me something back. Boom, boom, boom. As you can hear, my fan is running high. I'm running a lot of stuff here. Okay, so here we see Lakehouse. So now I can say show tables Lakehouse bronze. So let's see if the schema still exists. And it does not. Maybe I even didn't do it the right way. Wait, hang on. From. Okay, so it doesn't exist. So that's great. So then we're going to run create schema Lakehouse bronze. So the important thing here is that this is our catalog, and this is essentially the schema we're creating. So this is going to create a path in MinIO for this connection. So we run that, and we created the schema. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a table. So we have we can do that here. That's pretty useful. So here we create a products table I told you about. So catalog schema table. Okay, create it. All right, and then we can have a look. So now we can see the tables. Okay, so then we can do describe bakehouse bronze products. So I'm trying to be very explicit here to make sure it's understandable what I'm doing. Okay, we see the table. It has these columns, it has these data types. Okay, everything's fine. Okay, so now I can actually say, select from bakehouse bronze products. It should give me nothing. Yeah, that's a good sign. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna insert some data. This is being annoying. So all of this, you can find it in the repo. So here I'm inserting, and you might wonder why I'm casting here. Well, that's because if you do Trino SQL and you insert stuff, it won't understand. So for example, it might think that this here it might consider it being a decimal value. It might consider this being, um, something else, etc. So you always need to do this to make sure that you're actually getting the right data. Okay, so now we managed to insert data. Boom, we're done. So all of a sudden we have a fully working Trino. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please come back, hit and subscribe, and I will show and share more data panes. Thank you. Hej då!